What it do, good people, what it do. It is your girl Empress back in this YouTube building, in this YouTube space. I am so grateful that you have chosen to spend this time with me. As you come in, please make sure you hit the like button. And just a little bit, a couple of people have been telling me that they weren't getting the notification. So if that is you, make sure that your bell icon, it should be black, um, in the subscribe area, or you can unsubscribe and then resubscribe and then check the bell notification. I myself have been getting some problems with my own favorite YouTubers, so I understand your pain, but thank you nevertheless for rocking with me. Like I said, as you come in, make sure you hit that like button. That helps the channel grow, get it out to people who may like this content as you do. If you are new here, welcome. Please drop your information in the comment area so I will make sure to say what's up to you and welcome. Um, and other family members, if you will, can also reach out to you and say, hey, um, what we're going to get into today, our last episode was about procrastination. And hopefully, if you are a person that, struggles with procrastination, I did at one point, it was really bad. And now with the work, I'm not saying that it happened overnight, but I had to unlearn my negative behavior and learn good behavior, or um, positive behavior, so I wouldn't fall victim to that procrastination bug. So if you are a person that is struggling with that, definitely check out the last episode and hopefully you can get some useful information out of that. However, moving on to today, once you see this, it will air on a Thursday. And so, as usual, I always started off with Thankful Thursday. And what I am thankful for, let me back up. Let me tell you, I don't I don't allow people to hit me off with the regular things that they're thankful for, i.e., being, your job, your house, your car, your family, your dog, your cat, your fish, whatever the case may be. What I am looking for is for you to dig deep. And usually it's the things that we take for granted on a daily basis. Um, so what I am thankful for today is taste buds. Yeah, taste buds. Because if you think about it, think about your favorite meal, whatever that may be. For me, I love shrimp. I love lobster, and just imagine if um, you couldn't eat. Well, you could eat those things, but imagine if you couldn't taste the garlic butter with your lobster. You know what I mean? Or whatever your favorite dish is, what good would it be if you could eat it and not taste it? So that's what I'm thankful for today. I am thankful for taste buds. Um, and we all know, if you've ever been sick, especially with the flu or something of that nature, and you lose your taste buds, you know that eating is like pointless because you have no flavor whatsoever. So the fact that, I can taste my food, I'm very grateful. So moving on to today's topic, right? And it kind of piggybacks off of last week's topic of procrastination, um, being being a component, if you will, or a byproduct of impulsivity. So I didn't really get a chance. I mean, last week that episode was really long, and for those who stuck with me, thank you so much. I really tried to um, truncate it in the little bites. But today we're going to dive into being impulsive, because I also think that that is something that we don't really talk about. It's like a silent negative behavior that, like I said about procrastination, nobody walks up to you and say, hey, guess what, I'm a procrastinator. And nobody's going to walk up to you and tell you that, yes, I am impulsive. Why? Because that is looked at as a low vibrational behavior. um so, as usual, I did have some things that I studied to bring to you or bring to the table. And as usual, everything that I read today will be in the description box. I'm going to bypass some of the things, um, because they'll be available for you to view for yourself in totality in the description. So let's just go real quick. Let's go into what I mean. I know, or we should know, what the definition of being impulsive is. So I just did a simple Google, and I liked the Cambridge English Dictionary definition of impulsive. It says action or done suddenly without any planning or consideration of the results. And that's pretty much what it is. When you are acting impulsively, you are not thinking about the consequences at all. Whatever it is that has got your attention or got you fired up, what you want to tackle that, and then once the smoke clears, you think back and you're like, I didn't mean to say that, or I didn't mean to do that. But 9 times out of 10, whatever you said or whatever you did in that impulsive moment, um, probably did some damage. And damage control at that point is probably irreversible. You're not going to be able to do it, because once actions are done, once words are said, you can't retract it. You can apologize for it, but whoever was on the receiving end of that action or those words, you're going to have to give them some time to heal, if it is a healable situation. So let's move on. I'm reading, I got this off of Google today, but there is a magazine called Counseling Today. And disclaimer, I am not a licensed therapist, I'm not a counselor. However, uh, the 800 number and some websites and stuff like that, if you do feel that you need to get into or get in touch with someone in a professional setting to help you deal with any of these issues, please, by all means. That is something that we as individuals need to understand, that seeing a therapist and talking to someone, even if you don't want to go and do that whole formal sit down, if you have somebody that is willing to rock with you and willing to sit down and work through what you consider to be low vibrational behaviors, by all means, start now. Because people that are willing to do that for you and with you, they're rare. So cherish those individuals, okay? I try my best to my inner circle. They all know I try my best to lend a listening ear, because you never know when somebody is on the brink of a breaking point and just needs someone to listen. So if that happens to be you, my email is going across the bottom, and it's also going to be in the description box. If you find yourself not having someone that you think will listen, I am a listening ear, and you can definitely email me and I will email you back. However, like I said, please, at this point in time, 2022, going to see a professional about anything that you are dealing with is not taboo. Okay, so please, by all means, don't wait. Right? So, going on about being impulsive, um I got this out of counseling today, and they said that they got this from Psych Central. They said the data is 10.5% of Americans have an impulse control disorder, right? And I know when the word disorder comes out, let me be clear. These are behaviors that have been deemed low vibrational, if you will. But a disorder is not a damning thing. You can grow from, evolve from having a disorder. There are a lot of things that people are having symptoms from that they put disorder on in a technical sense to try and classify it. However, when we're talking about being impulsive, it is something that you can evolve from if you do find yourself being impulsive. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Um, it's a lot to read, but I have I'm not going to go through the whole thing like I did last week. I just briefly highlighted some things, and they said some of the things that contributes to being impulsive. It says inadequate sleep can make it more difficult to manage impulses. So if you do seek someone, make sure you talk about your sleeping patterns. If you find yourself unable to sleep, that's an issue. That's a problem. That is low vibrational. You got to find out the reason why you're unable to get a good night's sleep. Maybe we'll talk about that in another video. But today we're talking about impulsivity, being impulsive. So they said inadequate sleep patterns can contribute. They also say factors such as trauma, depression, and poverty can all affect people's ability to regulate their impulses and can make it difficult for them to see the world outside themselves. The writer Skinner adds in this paper. It says people who struggle with impulsivity often act without thinking and frequently lament their actions almost immediately afterwards, which means their lives might be filled with regret. Um, this consistent presence of regret can also turn into shame. So there's a lot of things that a person that is impulsive they're dealing with on the inside, whereas the person on the receiving end of these impulsive acts is just seeing these things but not really understanding that that person on the inside and is dealing with a lot more than what is being presented. Okay. It says impulse control is often based in logic. Another writer, Galenis, says it is an emotional experience that drives the behavior. So we need to be able to incorporate the emotions into it because logic is going to fall short every time. It says counselors can't simply tell people to stop being impulsive. Instead, she explains, they have to help clients understand their emotions and connect them to their behaviors. So basically, what that is being said is that you just can't tell somebody, hey man, stop being impulsive. Like you can't tell somebody who smokes cigarettes or um, has a alcohol problem. You can't tell them, hey man, just stop it. That's not going to work. um, it also says emotions just don't happen out of the blue. Being impulsive and impulsive behaviors happen because uh, people have needs that need to be met. So whatever it is, whatever situation is surrounding this blow up, this tire blowout, if you will, um, the person who is doing the talking or acting out, if you will, they're really unable to express their emotions in a way that is going to be receptive. And that right there, you it's almost like, well, I'm not gonna let that person off the hook. They should have know what they should have knew what they were saying when they said it. But usually in the heat of the moment, it's almost when a person, and if you're around anybody who um drinks, or we've seen enough movies where a person who drinks alcohol, they call somebody and they're inebriated, out of control, and then they end up saying things. And sometimes people need liquid courage. And I mean, I'm not saying that you need it, but sometimes people use that device as a means to express how they feel, because in a sober sense, they're unable to connect their emotions. So what this is saying is that the impulsive person um is not really wanting to lash out or say things that are going to be hurtful, because as the paper said, as soon as the words are done or that action is done, usually for most people, there are people who are very gangster if you will, with their words and their actions, and they could really give a rat's about what they say or what they do. They just want to uh, get their feelings out or act in a certain manner, and let that be that, and let the chips fall where they may. However, for a person that is really struggling with impulsivity, I'm sure that it's really a struggle, because it's something that they don't want to happen. um there was also, give me a second. um I think I already covered it, as far as, you know, the people being filled with regret after they say things or do things to someone. Um, it's just really unfortunate. I used to work for a grocery store way, way, way back in the day, and you know, all those goodies that are at the register, um, they call that impulsive purchases. If you really look at it, the next time you go to a grocery store, look at those things that are surrounding the register. It's chocolate, it's, you know, it's candy, it's chips, it's soda, little trinkets, stuff that you really honestly don't need. But because it's right there, and as you wait in line to make your purchases, that's why they call them impulsive buys. They set those things there on purpose, because it's an add-on to your purchase. So if you went in there to buy one thing, and for those who know to go to Walmart or Target, you know, you go in there for one thing and then you come out with 20 items, and it's because they purposely set these things in front of you. It's like dangling a carrot in front of you, and it's almost like you're set up to fail. um it's like they trick you to buy these things that you really don't need. They're literally called the impulse bay. That whole section is driven towards to play on whether or not you can bypass those things, right? So just something to think about the next time you go to the grocery store. How many times do you reach for that candy bar, or those M&Ms, or those Skittles, or whatever, those little trinkets, stuff that you weren't even thinking about, but because they're just sitting in front of you, you really don't think about it. I mean, it's just a quick instant, bam, okay. And then if you have kids, they're gonna want candy. So if your purchase was going to be $5, now it ended up being $10, simply because you've added on um, a Milky Way, a Snickers, M&Ms, soda, stuff you really don't need if you're on your healthy tip. Uh, so just check that out, right? My other thing that I wanted to run by you. Last week I wasn't able to get to it, but if you have you found yourself, and I know I have at some point in time, saying these things about being impulsive. It says, I have trouble resisting my cravings, i.e., for food, cigarettes, alcohol, blah, blah, blah. You have a hard time resisting that. Once again, you go to the liquor store, you go in there for a pack of gum, and then you find yourself going to go get you a beer or something. Not saying that that's bad, but if you are always doing that, then you need to see whether or not you have a little touch of the impulsivity bug. This is one thing that I really wanted to hammer in on. It says, when I feel rejected, I will often say things that I regret. I do many things on the spur of the moment. And this kind of brings it on home. Are you the type of person that doesn't take time to think things through? I used to be like that. I really did. Um, I and I'll be completely honest. I can go 0 to 60 in like 0.1 seconds, depending on the situation. But over time, I understood or came to understand that that type of behavior, it pushes people away, simply because um, if you keep lashing out at individuals, if you can't seem to control yourself, if you keep using the excuse of, oh, I didn't mean to say that, oh, I'm sorry, you're not going to have too many people around you. And then there are some people that say, well, that's just how I am, I can't control it. But at the end of the day, on the inside, to be honest, and if you're honest with yourself, you're really miserable inside, which can lead to depression because nobody wants to be around you. And for that matter, when you keep uh, engaging in this type of low vibrational energy, and like I was saying in a couple of episodes back, like attracts like, that energy that you are projecting out, the people that you are going to end up surrounding yourself with are going to be the same type of people that lash out at you. And so I'm sure that no one wants to be lashed out upon. It's not a good feeling. So we as individuals need to do the inner work. We need to take the time, sit yourself down and say, you know what? Do I do these things? And if you do find yourself doing it, what can you do to knock it off? Because you're going to either continue to attract people with the same type of energy that I'm sure you don't want to receive. But if you want to do better, you have to, it's a quote to say, you have to be the change you want to see. So if this is a behavior that you find yourself embarking on, you have to sit yourself down and figure out a way to combat that. Now, me, especially when I get into situations or conversations that I feel my emotions boiling like a pot of water on the stove, I pause. And according to the counseling today, they actually have some techniques that you can use. For me, what I do, I make sure that I breathe. You would be you would trip out, right? To know that if you just inhale and exhale before you respond or react, in which in any case I'm hoping, excuse me, that you are responding instead of reacting. um just taking that inhale and taking that moment to breathe, you can lessen your heart rate. You can lessen your blood pressure from being up here. And then it just that quick second, you can formulate your words. You can identify your emotions. Yes, you may be upset, and especially if it's something where maybe there's some criticism, or and not even criticism, but a topic of conversation that you may not want to engage in. Just take a moment and breathe. Just breathe. And if you don't want to have that conversation, once you breathe and come out of that inhale and exhale, maybe you're able to tell that individual, you know what, right now is not the time. Instead of saying, I don't want to talk about that right now. Get up out my face. Da, 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 da. Or you say some things that are even more hurtful that you can't take back. Because like I said, some people are not going to tolerate that. And there are some people who are going to receive those words and become aggressive, and it that small conversation end up being a conglomerate of actions on both sides of the fence that end up being very, very, very just not good. So this lady, she says she talked about slowing down. I said take a breath. That's a tactic. So just slow down before you even speak. Just pause. She also says she recommends the 5 4 3 2 1 grounding technique. Okay, this engages you. Um, Once you take a deep breath, it says to name 5 things you see, 4 things you feel, 3 things you hear, 2 things you smell, and 1 thing you taste. Um, Hopefully, by you going through all of that, you were able to subside the boiling point on the inside and able to respond to whatever the topic of conversation may be. Um, and another thing that I engage in, which has helped, is meditation. You can meditate in so many forms, different ways. Many people think when you say meditation, they think you got to, get alone and you got to, and there's nothing wrong with that, because on the weekends when I schedule out some free time, it's like 15 30 minutes. I do try to quiet, myself, quiet my mind. But some people, what is it, the bonsai tree, that's a form of meditation. uh grooming that said, many people have like little bonsai trees, and they do it, I'm sorry, in the Asian community, where you rake the sand. That's a form of meditation. Singing could be a form of meditation. Drawing, anything could be a form of meditation when you are getting into a space of just quieting your mind. And that's another thing that I believe drives a person to be impulsive, is because they just continue to have this record player on with all types of subjects from their life just on replay. And so by the time you come up, you could just be saying good morning or good evening, and that person can't get out of their mind, and they just turn around and bite you. I've been on the receiving end of that too, and it sounds like, whoa, hi, or not, So get into some meditation. Find something that will calm you down. Um, Another thing they say, take 3 slow breaths. Once again, they say, or say, I am calm 3 times. Whatever it is that is going to put you in a space where you can subside that boiling point, where you don't um, act impulsively towards someone, that is going to be beneficial. And I'm not saying, just like as it said earlier, you can't just tell somebody to stop being impulsive. This is something that you're going to have to identify what your trigger is, or what your triggers are. And when those things come, because as you live, they're going to happen, you will learn how to manage your emotions. Okay. I wanted to gonna get into wrapping this up, and I'm going to some quotes that I just pulled off the internet, just something for us to think about. It says impulsive action is a reactive action. It comes from a disturbed state of mind. Spontaneous action come from a serene state of mind. So I wanted to touch on that really quick because some people will say, well, I'm not impulsive, I'm spontaneous. And that's two different things. Spontaneous is when everything in your life seemingly is going right, meaning all is well, right? And it's a beautiful day outside, and you say, you know what? I'm going to go to the beach. That's being spontaneous. Being impulsive is like I've been discussing earlier, when you're approached with something where you're unable to express yourself readily and you react. You don't take time to breathe, uh, think about the words you want to say before they actually exit your mouth. That is a reactive state. And why they say it's disturbed is because, like I was talking about, that record player that just keeps going on and on and on. You can't stop that record, that merry-go-round. You can't seem to get off. Um, that's a disturbed state of mind. Then I found some quotes, and this guy, Craig D. Lowensboro, oh my gosh, I know I just murdered his name, but he said impulsivity is something akin to spontaneously jumping out of an airplane and not really realizing that you forgot something until about 5 seconds before impact. Isn't that crazy? He also says the reason my life has wandered to nowhere is likely due to the fact that the focus of the moment has dictated the destination of my life, when the destination of my life should have been dictating the focus of the moment. So, what that is saying in layman's terms, meaning that the totality of your life, you should be taking that into consideration, meaning the impulsivity or the impulsive actions, as we discussed or I've discussed earlier, we don't really think about the consequences. And that's the thing where I say sometimes you just can't come back from, you know, and you want to beg and plead and show your remorse, and sometimes there's no get back. Once those things are out in the open, they're out there, and they can be so detrimental. They have caused relationships to become broken and unfixable. um they've caused lives to be ended, and so on and so forth. Just being impulsive is just not a good look. I like this quote right here. It says impulsivity is its own form of evil. It forces one to spend many moments suffering a decision made in one. So in one moment, that one action is now causing many, many moments of suffering. It's not worth it. Please understand, it's not worth it. Being impulsive is not a good look. It really isn't. And this person, Giovanni D. Sattler, she says regret comes from impulsive actions. And also regret comes from procrastination. That's why I said last week that both of them, they pretty much go hand in hand. This person says the greater a person's anxiety and resistance to the ordinary troubles in life, the greater their personal suffering. So it's just seeming like to me the undertone of all of this is, as I've said in previous episodes, whatever you resist will persist. So if you're having a hard time or find it difficult to express your emotions, find someone you can talk to. Take time when you're in a situation, take time to breathe, identify how you feel, you know, press pause to come back later to that situation before you end up saying or doing something that you can't take back. And then another one from this guy, Craig, it says, if you keep your mouth closed more than you keep it open, there's a whole lot less opportunity for you for I'm sorry, let me start over. If you keep your mouth closed more than you keep it open, there's a whole lot less opportunity to put your foot in it. Okay? You wouldn't have to be apologizing for things that you said impulsively. And then it says, impulsiveness is the enemy of deep thinking. Now, is that not the case? Like I keep saying, doing the inner work is the new sexy in my case. And impulsiveness is the enemy of deep thinking. Deep thinking, meditation, deep thinking, stopping and breathing, slowing down, um, responding instead of reacting. These things cause you to actually do some proper thinking. And just like people don't want to do the inner work, people don't want to do deep thinking. So deep thinking is the enemy of impulsiveness. Like I said earlier, impulsiveness is an enemy. It is not a good look. You know, it's not what's hot. It's not what's popping. It doesn't look good on anybody. Okay. I'm gonna get ready to wrap this up. It says, teach yourself not to be emotionally impulsive. That could ruin opportunities and sever connections that were meant to be blessings for you. Once again, teach yourself not to be emotionally impulsive. That could ruin opportunities and sever connections that were meant to be blessings for you. Okay? I know that is hard. I'm a human. I live here amongst other humans, and there are a lot of things in life that we consider to be unfair. There are a lot of times, especially when we're low on sleep, maybe we're hungry, maybe there's a lot of things. We're all a part of families or circle of friends where we all have to deal with circumstances that are unfavorable, times we don't want to deal with. However, it's not a good look to remain impulsive. When you sit back and after the smoke clears, yeah, you got all that energy out, but that relationship that is now severed or now strained because of that one moment, is it really worth it? That opportunity that you may lose out on because you didn't take the time to think your words through, is it worth it? I'm telling you right now that your life, you are worth it. You are worth for someone to take their time to respond to you in an appropriate manner, and you are worth it and capable of taking your time to respond to someone in an appropriate manner. Why? Because no one here lives on an island by themselves. This is not what's that movie, Castaway, with Tom Hanks, and he had that soccer ball, Wilson. Wilson. um we all have to deal with individuals every day in our lives, and especially those close to you. Please, please, please be mindful of how you treat each other. You don't know where people are in their life, and your impulsive actions toward them could send them in a downward spiral, and vice versa. So I had to explain to a couple of friends of mine, especially during deep conversations. They were kind of getting mad at me that I was taking moments to breathe and process uh, response my responses to them. Why you keep stopping? And I said, you know what? It's because I'm mindful. I had to get present, be mindful of how I respond to someone, because I don't want to send somebody into a downward spiral. If that person already has so much on the inside, I don't want to add to it. So please don't add to someone's plate already. Work it out. Everything, I believe, can be worked out if it's done in a manner in which we respect one another. Just as you would like to be spoken to, speak to the individuals around you the same way. They always say that's the golden rule, right? Um, Treat others how you want to be treated. But going back to this impulsivity, you can evolve into a person where you can stop and think before you respond. Okay, you can stop and think before you act. You can. It's going to take some work, especially if you are a fiery individual, in which I still am. But I took it upon myself to analyze my life at that time years and years ago, and I said, you know what, this is not working. And not only for impulsivity or procrastination, whatever you find yourself in a routine that you find yourself doing that's low vibrational, or is not benefiting you or helping you progress, live your better life, be your better self, just stop. Figure out what that is. Talk to somebody. I'm sure there is somebody you can talk to. And like I said, I'm always available. Two heads are better than one. I don't have all the answers, but I am available to run some things around to see where you can make your start. I Unfortunately, I didn't have anybody at the and that's funny, right? But we all have. You might be a person that have a gazillion of friends, but when it comes down to the most inner core, you might feel embarrassed to talk to somebody because you want to uphold this this mask or this facade about who you are or what you want to present out in the world. But I'm here to tell you that it's okay. Okay, we all have flaws. We all have flaws. So uh, this space, this channel, is for people that want to recognize that and want to be in an environment, a safe environment, to say, you know what, I want to be better. This is what I want to work on. And I'm here to cheer you on. Like I've been saying, doing the inner work is the new sexy to me. I don't care about the material things. That stuff can be gone in an instant. But what I see and what makes a person attractive is when they're doing the inner work, when you are taking the strides to be better. It's not going to happen overnight, but I'm here to rock with you as you rock with me. And I'm telling you, we can get to that other side where um, our lives, it, our lives are is that much more beautiful. Okay, so I don't want to make it seem like, oh well, you're just a horrible person. No, We're here to identify things that we need to work on. That's it. That's it. That's all. I'm not condemning anybody. Like I said, I had problems with it. And, sometimes depending on if it's a life threatening situation, maybe acting impulsive to, keep yourself out of harm's way or make sure that your life is preserved, you need to act impulsive. You can't stop and think and breathe at that point. But in the event of you having a conversation, maybe that topic is uncomfortable, or maybe it's a situation that has to be addressed right now, just take your moment and breathe and let that individual know, you know what? I want to engage in this conversation with you. However, I'm going to be taking, small pauses so I can respond to you appropriately. And I promise you, that person will be grateful that you thought of them enough to inform them that you don't want to just, okay? I'm telling you this because I've done it, and the people that were on the receiving end of that, they were grateful, and they were tolerable of my pauses. And I still do it to this day because, like I said, as you go on in life, there are going to be times and moments where you're not going to want to engage, but you need to engage, but you can do it in a respectful way. So, as I'm wrapping this up, it's Thankful Thursday, man. Look, do the inner work. Don't take this moment and say, man, I'm just a horrible person. No, you're identifying the things that you need to work on, I need to work on, and the more you work on it, the more better you'll be. Because, like I will continue to say, whatever you resist will persist. And if whatever you're resisting to work on, God willing, you live to be 80, 90 years old, you don't want to be known as that person that don't nobody want to be around. It's not a good look. Okay. So I'm here. I wish I was there or in a space where I could give you a hug. Or I'll just tell you, it's okay. All right. I know that it sounds like it's just, just forget it. I'm just a bad person. No, you're not. We are going to figure this out together. Okay. So this has been another episode. And as I always say, life is a movement. Get in traffic. It's Thankful Thursday. Be grateful, not only on Thursdays, every day. Walk around with a grateful heart. Slow your mind down. Turn that record player off. You can do it so you can get your adequate sleep. So when situations come about, you'll be able to respond appropriately. All right. I love y'all. Do y'all work. Do the inner work. It's the new sexy. We're here to get better. We will get better. Okay. And I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.